Being in high school is a great thing because it's a spring pad to higher education, especially in a country like Kenya, where higher education is valued as key out of poverty. And as everyone else, you're expected to work hard and get the best grade in high school, that is secondary school, and then go to university and do a good course and get a good job, and you'll be well to go. But what if all this comes to a point where it conflicts with other aspects of your life, especially religion? I think that is the point I found myself in, especially when the high school I was in was not of my denomination. It was a high school where going to church was on Sunday, whereas personally, in my church, we go to church on Saturday, and we believe that is the biblical Sabbath day. And so surviving was just good from Form 1, from Form 2, Form 3. In Form 3, the last parts, the last term, problems begin coming in. Growing in and learning the Bible truth and desiring to know God more. This conviction came that if I'm a child of God, I have to depart from sin and serve God in truth and do everything as He will strengthen me to do. And in that, Sabbath was not an exception. Coming to learn of Sabbath, and I decided and purposed in my heart that I'm going to keep the Sabbath day, whatever my environment be. And so my school was not excluded. And in this part of my life, I spent much time in school than any other place, because out of the 12 months, all 9 months will be spent in school, and only the few months, the 3 months, will be spent home during holidays, 1 month each, between three months. And so it comes when I'm in Form 3, and I approach a friend and tell him that personally I've been convicted that I'll keep the Sabbath. And so there were a group of Adventists in the school, but they were not doing this because this was not the school norm. So we talked with this friend and we prayed over it. Then we decided to tell the other friends, the other Adventists, and all of us decided that we're going to be keeping the Sabbath. We prayed, we fasted, that God lead us and give us victory, that this should not bring any commotion in the school. And then the week went on, and Friday came, and I and my friend, we met the other friends again as usual. But then those who were in Form 4 by then came forward and told us they went to inquire from the patron. The patron told them to go and inquire from the school principal. When they went to the school principal told them they cannot keep the Sabbath. So they were seeking for a permission, but the school principal said no. He told them, you complete your Form 4, go out, keep your Sabbath, not here. And so when they brought us information, everyone panicked. And so a good number withdrew and said like, no, we can try it another time, not now. But I think I was so much convicted in my heart, and I said, to me, I will do it. And I asked, who are we with? And my friend was by my side and a few other people. So the following day was the Sabbath day, Saturday, and we met in the school dining hall early in the morning, and we began our Sabbath service. And so we went on. A good number of the Form 1s and the Form 2s joined us, who were Adventists, and we did the service. And the day ended without any problem. And so the following week, when the Sabbath came, the other fellows saw that there was no problem, and so they joined us again. And so the number increased. Actually, that second Sabbath, in the afternoon, almost the whole school came in the dining hall to worship with us. But we feared that this may hasten a problem before it's on hand. So we told them that you guys just go back to your classes. We told them just go back to your classes. We don't want the school administration to say that we are championing some rebellion in the school or whatever it be. Because we were very much aware there are people who came to worship with us, not just to worship, but because they never wanted to be in classes, so they were escaping the classes. So, but we decided that we are sending them back, and we sent a huge number of them back. And so, third Sabbath in the row, the school principal came where we were having the Sabbath worship in the dining hall, and he stood at the window. He looked at us, and he went away. That very, very same Sabbath, the school deputy principal administration too came there and walked through the room and went away. He never said a word to us. He just went away. He never talked to us. The teacher in charge of boarding section also came. He saw us. He never talked. He went away. And so to us, we were like, glory be to God. And we went on worshiping every Sabbath until the academic year ended and we went home. So we came back from home to school. Now the Form 4s had gone. Now I and my friends, we were in Form 4 now. And we know one thing, like the academic pressure in Form 4 increases because this is the last year in your school, and you're going to have your last exams that is going to determine whether you're going to campus or not. Okay? So the academic pressure really increased. And in that time, to me, I was still much convicted that as it was, so I'll still stand by the word of God, that remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days thou shalt labor, and the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it, you, your manservant, your maidservant, your children, your ox, or any priest in your house shall do no work. And to me, my work was reading. That was my work in 6 days. And the seventh day, I was to rest. Okay? And so that was the conviction. And then when we came back to school, that first term of the fourth year, when I was in Form 4, things heightened, and Form 4s were required on Saturday, Sabbath day, to wake up at 4 a.m. to do chemistry practical and physics practical, and that's the two will end by around 8 a.m. Then they will go for their breakfast and come back for biology practical, and that will end by 10. They'll go and clean themselves, then be back by 12 after lunch, around there, and then begin English exams, then geography exams, and that will end by 5 in the evening. So for the Form 4s, the whole Saturday was packed with exams. But to me, I was convicted otherwise. The school itself was a perfect school. They never tolerated or accepted that, and there was a conflict with my faith. So personally, I stood firm to say so, and I never did these exams. So my schedule will be like Friday, after my last class that will end by 4 p.m. By 4 p.m. I would leave the class, go to the dormitory, put my uniform in order, and then I will blacken my shoes, and then I would go to the shop, the school shop. I'll buy bread that will be enough for me to eat on Sabbath day. So the Sabbath day I wasn't going to serve with others. I was just eating that bread and water. That is what I was eating. And so that is what we were doing with a friend, this same friend of mine that we had been with all through. And so this became the culture. And then when the result of the first exam came out, my grades dropped, and my biology teacher approached me and asked me like, do you see your grades have dropped? And quietly enough, they were aware that there's some few people here, Adventists, who are not doing exams on Saturday. They're not attending classes on Saturday. They're out. So he asked me like, you see your grades have dropped. You must stop this. And she was a good friend of mine. She was a good friend of my friend because the two of us used to talk in biology. So she was our good friend. And he talked to my friend. To me, I gave no room for his words. I felt like there will be no point of we discussing, because his point was clear that I stop this, or he threatened me that I'll fail and fail and fail. And to me, I said, Lord, if for believing and walking in your truth will cost me this, then let it be so. That was my point. So time moved, this trend continued, and the heat becoming more higher, and the teachers had been in a meeting, and they summoned our patron, the patron for the Adventist group, to come and tell us to stop this. But the patron was plain on the matter. He told them that he cannot interfere in the faith of an individual, in the decision of an individual as far as faith is concerned. The patron never said anything to us, but the pressure kept on building, and this went until the first term ended. When the second term came, we were Form 4s alone in school because the COVID had heated, and so the Form 4s were alone in school. And so there was full concentration of teachers on the Form 4s because all other students were not around. Only the Form 4s were in school. And so much concentration was on us. And at this point, when we came back, I don't know how it happens, but when I met my friend, I felt a deep separation between us. I just felt a deep separation between us. And we reported back to school on a Thursday. On a Friday, we met and we talked with him. We were in the same stream with him. And on the Sabbath day, we were to meet. And so, because other forms were not there, only the Form 4s were around. So only us, we never expected a huge number, but a couple of people. And so when Saturday came, as we had been doing, I woke up early in the morning and went to the dining hall, and there sat with some few friends. We were reading the Bible and singing hymns. And I never saw my friend coming over until the Sabbath ended. He never came. So the trend continued to the second Sabbath. And when I came from the dining hall, I came to class just walking around to see why is my friend not around. When I found my friend, he was reading. I don't know how it pricked my heart. I felt so disappointed. I felt like shedding tears for him. I just walked away. I never said anything. Perhaps I was wrong. I don't know, but whichever way it be, that is how it was. And then I just thought I was all alone in this now. And now, by the third Sabbath, these are the friends that were also coming stopped. And that is when a guy approached me. And he said to me, Bildad, you people are usually here, you are in the dining hall and keeping the Sabbath there. They said to him, yes, we are. Where have you been? And he said to me, I'm not persuaded to do exams on Sabbath, so I usually hide in the toilets during this time. They said to him, oh, sorry for that, but you can come over. And this guy is called Sam. So Sam joins me, and two of us will be meeting Friday sunset for prayers, and while others were in classes studying, we were in one of the classes that was empty, reading the Bible and singing hymns and praying. That is what we were doing until time for sleeping arrives. We go to the dormitory to sleep. Early in the morning, we'll come to the same room on Saturday and begin our Sabbath worship. Actually, we will usually dress sharp. You'll think it's a Monday. Our shoes blackened, our trousers well neat and clean, on up in a tie. That's very odd in a high school on weekends. So we'll just dress neatly on that day. So we continued this, two of us, missing the Saturday exams and going on. Then one guy joined us, another person joined us. He was not an Adventist, but in their church, they're also keeping the Sabbath. One of these churches, I don't know what it's called, the Church of God, I'm not sure, I don't remember. But he joined us and we were worshiping together. But then one day we asked him, when he joined us, we asked him that, will you be with us to the end? Like, what is the take of your parents on this? If they hear this, because we don't know what the school administration will do to us, we don't know. But if your parents hear this, how will it be with you? And he said to us, I don't mind whether, I don't know, he said to us that my parents are well, they know we keep the Sabbath, and so they will have no problem with me. So we said, oh, thanks God, another third person has joined us. Now we were three of us, daily, not doing the Saturday exams. We were just there in the dining hall. All of the days we were in class doing everything. But Friday evening, we'll get out, go for Vespers welcoming of the Sabbath. Saturday morning, we'll wake up early in the morning. We are well dressed, neatly dressed, our Bibles, go to the dining hall, and there be praying. Then something happened. This boy who joined us, it happened that he was doing CRE, and then he missed the CRE exams, and then his teacher was looking for him, and his teacher asked where he was, why he did not do the exams, and he said that he's a Sabbath keeper. This teacher was also an Adventist, and this teacher caned this boy for not doing exams on Saturday. And that was the end of that boy with keeping the Sabbath. He never came back. Actually, whenever he will see us, he will use another way. He will never want us to come to meet. If you are walking opposite ways and you will see us coming, he will just branch another way. And he never came back again. And we knew our day was also coming, and we never knew what shall befall us, because the administration was wholly against this. Now, one of the nights, even before that, things began unfolding in this house when it was on a Wednesday, and we were going for lunch. And as we were going for lunch, I had served my lunch, and I was walking away. Then remember my biology teacher that I said earlier. As I was walking away, she began shouting that, where, Kuja, like that is like, you, come. And I never knew who the you was. So she was there standing together with the deputy principal administration. They came to observe as the students were serving their lunch. So as I was walking away, I heard that voice, and it was her voice calling someone, and I presume perhaps it could be me she was calling, but I did not turn. Why? Because I knew she knew me by name, and I wondered why she never called me by name. She was only saying where, that is just saying you come, and there were other people around, so perhaps she was calling another person. So until someone came and tapped my back and told me, Madam So-and-so is calling you. I would love to mention their names. Madam So-and-so is calling you. And I turned back and went to her, and she asked me. No, she never asked me. She was saying to the school, to the deputy principal, saying to him that, Mwalimu, this boy is not doing exams on Saturday. And the duty principal was like, what is that? That this boy is reading Antichrist. Are you a Christian? You're just reading Antichrist. And so it informed me that the previous thing that had happened, where the teacher in charge of boarding found me reading a book called The Antichrist, had shared this information with all the teachers. And perhaps they were thinking I am an offshoot from Christianity because I was reading a book called Antichrist. So I decided to explain to them what that book was about. I told them the book is talking about majorly explaining Revelation chapter 13 and Revelation chapter 17 and Revelation chapter 18. That is all the book is discussing and talking about the Antichrist and the mark of the beast and all that sort. And so they told me like explain. So they were just listening, and I gave them my own experience of salvation to that point. And then they said tell us, why are you not doing exams on Saturday? And I told them that yes, I'm not doing exams on Saturday. It is not the first one. All through the last portion of Form 3, and I'm an Adventist. And so we talked, and the deputy principal said to me that, are you always alone? I said that, no, I'm with my friend Sam. And so he told me, go and call your friend Sam. So we walked towards where the classes were, and we were standing in front of the Form 4 block. And so we were talking there when he told me to go and call my friend Sam. So I called my friend Sam, and we came. At this moment, Sam came, and he told us that we go with him in his office. At this moment, it seems the whole Form 4s were aware of something. They were aware something is odd. So it's almost everyone was standing at the window speculating, what is happening here? What is happening here? And so, nonetheless, the teacher told them to go back to class and to calm down everyone. And then we went to the deputy principal's office, and there we began talking with him. He began inquiring more of us. Then we were free and told him everything, that this is our conviction. And he told us of the possible repercussions or the consequences, and we told him we have no problem. That to us, unless proven in the Bible that we are wrong, we won't turn away. And so, as we were still talking, he received a phone call from the school principal. He went out to the school principal's office, and 5 minutes later, he came back and told my friend to get out of the office and to remain with us still there. And now, at the moment when he told my friend to leave the room, my mind quickly thought, there is a trap. That is the first thing that came to my mind. There is a trap. Why to separate us? There is a trap. My mind just came quickly to what had happened to the Waldensians and the villages when the Dominicans will come to their villages, and this one moment tell them that, the other villagers surrendered, it's only you who are left, surrender and you shall have peace, and that village surrender, while truly the other village had not surrendered. So I felt like perhaps there's a trap here. Why are we separated? But nonetheless, I still cooperated, and we talked at large, and the deputy principal was perfectly against everything, against us in whatever way. And as we were sitting there, we talked, and then at last he told me, he gave me a foolscap and a pen, and told me, write down everything on this paper, write the date, append your signature on it, write the contact of your parent. I did that perfectly. And he told me, you go to class, I'll call you later. And then he called my friend in, and my friend later told me, that is Sam, that he also did the same. He was given a foolscap, wrote the story, appended his signature and his parents' contact. And then we were told, we are going to call your parents, they will come, and then we will see what to do with you. So we went back to class. And then That Friday, our parents never came that week, so Friday evening, that Friday evening, Sam's dad came to school. He was called. Sam's dad came to school. He was called. So he came, and Sam was called to the office, and they had a discussion. And from what Sam later told me, that his father sided with the school, though his father being an Adventist, but his father sided with the school, and his father demanded that he do what the school wants, and not what his faith was. And so Sam refused to say so. Sam stood by his ground and said, I will stand by my faith. Let the consequence be. I won't disobey the Sabbath. I will keep the Sabbath holy. I won't defile it. I will keep the Sabbath holy. So Sam's father was very furious at him, very angry at him, and was shouting at the top of his voice as they were walking out of the office, to an extent that the whole school was stirred to commotion, because it was during lunchtime when Sam was getting out of the office. Sam was told to go to the dormitory, bring all his things, and return the school books, and take every book of him and leave the school without any letter, whether it was expulsion or the other one. He wasn't told, no any letter from the school. The school just told him, you leave and go. Just leave. Go your way with your parents. So as Sam was going for his things and they came back, the whole school came together, and there were some people shouting. Though I wasn't for that, it was not good, of course. But the teachers calmed the students down and told them to go back to class. But Sam left the school together with his dad. And Sam later will tell me that immediately they passed the school gate, his father said to him, you're no longer my child. I don't know you. And his father drove away and left him there. And he was stranded, having no coin. From our school to their home was several miles away. He couldn't walk. Perhaps walking will take perhaps even 5 months to reach home if he was to walk daily. And so Sam was stranded there. His father had gone. His father had decided him. So Sam will later tell me that as he was standing there, knowing not what to do, miraculously, someone passed by a motorbike who happened to be coming from their village, and he stopped the person and explained the situation, and this person gave him a free lift on his motorbike to their home. When Sam arrived at home, he found his father was very angry, and so his mom welcomed him. He explained everything to his mom. They prayed with his mom. His mom was for his supported him, and they prayed together. When his father came and realized that he was there, and the mother accepted him, the father was angry and chased him from home together with the mother, and they had to go away from home and seek refuge somewhere else. So back in school, I was still there. I remember it was business class, my last class that Friday evening by around 4. And then as I was sitting in the business class, I saw the deputy principal coming to class, and he knocked there and got in, and he asked, where's Bildad, Brian? And I lifted up my hand, and he told me, follow me. And I knew it's not good, but I said to God, whatever be the consequence, let it be. So I followed the deputy principal and walked, and then after we were a distance from the classes, he turned and told me, I've called your mom. She said she's coming on Monday. But between now and Monday, you must do what other students are doing. You must be where other students are. If you don't, I will personally come for you. So this guy was a definition of wrath. He was someone, if he begins killing a student, the only thing that will make him stop was that blood was coming out of that student and is being rushed to hospital. That is the kind of deputy principal administration we were having. It was a definition of wrath. So listening to these words from him, I knew it's bad. And he asked me, is that understood? And I nodded my head, yes. Then he told me, go back to class. So I went back to class, and I said in my heart, I will not defile the Sabbath. I will keep it holy unless the Bible points to me that I'm wrong. Then I will change. No other human word will persuade me otherwise. No circumstance will persuade me otherwise. So I went back to class, and in my heart I knew, if my mom is coming on Monday, then I know she won't find me in this school. She will find me in the hospital. I said in my heart, let it be what it is. And so after that class, I took my books to the class and locked my locker. Went to the school shop, canteen, bought 2 loaves of bread, then kept them in my locker. Rushed to the dormitory. I blackened my shoes, neatly arranged my clothes for tomorrow. That is Sabbath. Then that Friday evening, I was all alone in that single room because we had been there with my friend Sam, but now Sam was gone. I was all alone there in that room. I was not in class. I went to that room and knelt down. I prayed and sang hymns and read my Bible, sang hymns, read my Bible and prayed. And then by around 8 p.m. the night, I could see through the window the deputy principal coming out of the administration block, walking down towards the Form 4 block. And I knew he was going to look for me. And I knew he was going to come for me. And I knew he was going to thoroughly beat me. But I said in my heart, Lord, let it be what it is. I knelt down and prayed and waited patiently for my fate. And there sang some few hymns. And I saw him walk from the Form 4 block towards the block where I was in. And then I never saw him again until the following day in the morning. So the following day in the morning, Saturday, the Form 4s were waking up. They were going for their practicals. They'll begin with the chemistry practical, then do the physics practical, then the biology practical, then they'll come and do English test and do the physics test. Surprisingly all, the teacher who was giving chemistry practical was an Adventist. The teacher who was giving physics practical was an Adventist. The teacher who was giving English test was alike an Adventist. But that never persuaded me otherwise, despite other Adventists who are going on doing the practicals. So I stood firm. So this early in the morning, I was there in that room again, praying and reading my Bible and singing a hymn. Then as this was going on, I again saw my deputy principal walking from the administration block, going towards the school laboratories where the students were doing their practicals. So there I knew, I thought, he's going to look for me, he's not going to find me there, he's going to look where I am and will deal with me, because he had promised he will look for me personally. And so I knew, God, you saved me last night. This morning, if he comes for me, let it be what it is. Here I am. I know no other. And so I patiently prayed there and waited. Again, never saw him. Throughout all the day, I was in that room. I had my 2 loaves of bread, one for breakfast, the other one for lunch. I will eat a loaf of bread with water, then that will be my breakfast, a loaf of bread with water. That will be my lunch for the Sabbath. Then after Sabbath in the evening, I'll get back to class. Sabbath was over, I'll get back to class and study for my exams. So the Sabbath ended, it was all well, nothing happened, and I thanked God for that. And I remember the deputy principal coming to call me from class the following day evening, and then he called me, and he was not alone. He was together with the my biology teacher, they were together, and they talked with me and told me, there's no need to go home as your friend was sent home. Just abide by the school like your other friend, referring to my friend that had agreed earlier with a friend of mine. Just do as he's doing. It's no big deal. Don't bring more pain to your parent. Just accept. It is us, your teachers, talking with you. Just accept. I was quiet for a moment, and I asked them one question that just tell me if I'm wrong from the Bible. The faith I'm holding is wrong. Then, so after that discussion we had with them, because we don't come to a point of agreement about them proving to me or them persuading me. The Bible had persuaded me, and there I stood upon the word of God. I felt like denying the truth I knew was like killing myself. I could not. Every fear of man was not in me, even a taint of it. Even our deputy principal, whose definition was wrath, had no fear of anything. I was like, if he's to beat me, let it be. And they told me to go back to class after that talk, and it yielded no fruit. So I went back to class. The weekend ended on Monday. We were having exams. I remember it was chemistry, paper 1, when the deputy principal came in the room where I was doing exams. And he called, "Where is Bildad, Brian?" And I raised my hand, and he said to me, "Follow me." I left my paper from where I had stopped writing, my pen in my pocket, and then I walked out and followed him. And when I went with him to his office, there my mom was seated. And so we began talking. And then I maintained my ground. But then my mom said to him, "Let me talk with him a little outside here." So we walked out with my mom and talked. And then I said to my mom, "I understand all these things, but it's much better to obey God than any other thing. It's much better to obey God than any other thing." And we talked, and we agreed that let it be. So we went back in, and the duty principal told me, he gave me another full scarf again and told me to write my stand. And on it, I wrote it carefully. I also remember, paraphrase the words, that I am persuaded of my faith, of what I believe in, and to keep the Sabbath. And I accept to follow the school rules in all ways, because I knew very well my faith was not conflicting with any school rule, in anything that the school wanted, always, I'd never. So when the deputy principal saw what I had written, he told me, "But don't write it this way. This one is written wrongly." Because I had written that I'm willing to follow and to abide by every school rule and be allowed to practice my faith. I penned my signature, but he refused and told me to write another one. And I told him, "Sir, I'm sorry, I have no other one to write. That is my stand." He was so angry that he threw his pen at me and missed it. He threw hand wash in the container. He threw it at me and missed it. It hit the wall. He was angry with me. And when the other teachers who were in the room saw this, they all walked out in haste. And then I saw him going for a huge stick. I cannot call it a cane. It was a huge stick. And I believe he was to beat me with this. And then I walked out before he reached me. And behind me, I heard him shouting, "Go and pick all your things and leave the school. Go and pick all your things and leave the school. Pick everything." And so I walked to the dormitory, brought my box, and returned all the school books. And then with my mom, we left and went home. So after we were home, my mom and I went to the county director of education. That was my mom's thought. So we went there together and appealed to the county director of education in our constituency. And they told us, you go to the director of education in the constituency where the school is located. And so we traveled back there. And when we went there and found the director of education at the sub-county level, I was happy because I found she was an Adventist. That is director of education, sub-county Korea East, because the school was located in Korea East. And so I found that she was an Adventist. But her persuasion was, young man, just go and do what the school wants. You are soon doing your KCC, and after you are done, you'll now keep the Sabbath. And I asked her, I opened to her the book of James, chapter 2, verse 8. I guess it's so that, and do ye and walk ye as they that shall be judged by the royal law or by the law of liberty. And I asked her, do you believe you'll be judged by the law? She said, yes. Then you want me to break that which shall be used to judge me? If Christ strengthens me to live and abide by it, and the Bible says, do ye and walk ye as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty, then why say you to me, just break it for now? And could never come to an agreement, but her persuasion was her persuasion. That you go to school, do as you have been, as your teachers want, and after that, you'll go on and keep the Sabbath once you're done. To me, I was like, human persuasion, tell me from the Bible that I'm wrong, then I will be. I'll abide by whatever you want. I'll follow no other, but thus says the Lord. So as we were walking out there, I met another person who seems to be coming from a familiar place. And his words were like, young man, you're going to fail your exams terribly. You're going to fail your exams terribly. You can come all the way and then come here in this school and just be joking that you don't want to do exams on Saturday. You're going to fail terribly. And he told me, because there was the container there where KCC exams are stored there in that office, he told me, we are soon going for the exams will come and you're going to fail terribly. And then as I was walking out, I don't know what the coincidence was, I met my school bus driver and they asked like, this is the boy, he's the one who's not doing exams in school, he's the one who's disturbing. I know of him, he's very stubborn, he's not doing exams on Saturday. Others are doing it, why not you? And he said to me like, you will fail, go and read. Your fellows are now reading and you are outside here. See, you are walking with your mother outside here. She should be somewhere doing some other work. And like, this was very heavy on my heart. And I came to ask myself what I might be wrong. But I asked myself, if I am wrong, where in the word of God am I wrong? Will someone show me from the word of God that I'm wrong? Where? And so this was only my point, that if truly I'm wrong, then where am I wrong? And so never bore any fruit. So my mom went to the next step. We went to the county director of education, and there we met the director and we talked. And she made a phone call directly to my school principal and told him, let the boy come back to school tomorrow without failure. Accept him back. And the phone was hung up. And she told me, young man, be obedient to your parents, be obedient to your teachers, go and do what they want, go back to school. No other discussion. So I said nothing, I was just quiet watching. And obediently, I went back to school the following day, and I went directly to class. It was on a Friday when I went back. My school principal called me and told me, you are back here, but I want us to agree. You'll be in this school from Monday to Friday. From Friday evening, you leave the gate, go and keep your Sabbath outside, come back on Monday morning. Wherever you're going to sleep, I don't know. This is a boarding school. And I said to him, it's okay, I'm fine with that. If that is the case, I'm fine with that. I will abide by it. And so I went back to class and I thanked God. I thank you, Lord. There's a way for me. I'll be keeping the Sabbath. I'll be abiding by your will. And so I'll be reading. Thank you for this. And so I went back to class. I remember one of the teachers calling me one of the night in the night and asking me like, now you're back. What is the agreement? And I told him what the principal had said to me. I'm not going to do exams on Saturday. And I don't know what's wrong, but that day, after the weekend on Monday, the deputy principal came again to class where I was, and he called me, where is Bildad? And I raised my hand. He told me, follow me. And I followed him. I was wondering, this thing was sorted. And he told me to follow him. So I followed him, and he told me this time we're not going to my office, we're going in another office. So I never knew what was happening. We went to the boardroom, the school boardroom, and I found a panel seated down. And I was introduced to the panel. I was told, this is the school, the board disciplinary committee, school disciplinary committee of the school board. So I was brought before the disciplinary committee of the board. And my offense was, I'm not destroying the Sabbath. In other words, I'm destroying the Sabbath. That was my offense. You are not destroying the Sabbath. You should destroy the Sabbath by doing what we want, exams. To my conviction, that was it. So the charges were read. The board members give advice how I should be an obedient child. That God says, be obedient to your parents, and your days will be longer. And they told me to be reading the book of Proverbs and the book of Psalms, and that will help me to be a wise child. And they told me to abide by whatever is wanted. And at last, the deputy principal told me to say anything if I had, and I told him, I have a lot to say, but if I say anything, you people will judge me with my words. And he told me, no, we will not judge you. We won't judge you. If you have something to say, you just say it. And I felt at liberty to talk. And I began narrating the history of the church. From the time Christ left, all the persecution the Christians went through under Emperor Nero, under Diocletian persecution, all those periods, the point where the papacy was built, and the papacy comes to power, and the church is united to one church, Catholic Church. I was narrating the history of the church all through. And when I reached in the middle of my talking, I saw the deputy principal in rage, shouting at me and saying, how can you abuse me in front of all these people? Why are you abusing me? This child, you have no respect for me. You're abusing me in front of everyone here. And for a moment I was quiet, looking at him, and I was wondering, in all the words, where is the abuse? And to my shock, everyone in the room was like, you need to be obedient, child. You should be obedient. Why are you abusing your deputy principal? And at that moment, the chair lady of the disciplinary committee was out receiving a phone call. So she came back and she was told, the deputy principal told her that imagine this boy is abusing me in front of all these people. And everyone was nodding their head. She's nodding their head and saying, this boy is very disrespectful. He's abusing his teacher in front of us. And I wanted to open my mouth to ask, what is the abuse? But then I remembered the last moments of Christ, when the Jews, the high priest, when they took him to Herod, And Herod, though find no fault in him, and inquired, where is his fault? And they say to him, if he was not having any fault, you could never have brought him here. But they could not say any fault. So I remembered of the silence of Christ, and I went silent, because this was very absurd. You were narrating the history of the church, and all of a sudden someone bursts that you're abusing him, and everyone else agrees that you're abusing him. So I was just quiet and never said anything. And so they told me, you have two choices: remain in school and do what we want, or go home. And then they told me, I'd rather be obedient to what I'm persuaded to and remain firm. Unless persuaded by the Bible that I'm wrong, I will stand by my feet. And so he told me to write my conviction, and I wrote my stand and wrote there, well, but given no other choice, only these two, I choose to stand by my faith and not compromise it. And so as I was walking out of the room, I met my friend Samuel, and I was like, oh Sam, you're also here? And he just said to me, yes, I'm also here. Then I realized he was with his dad. They came, and they also went before the committee. And there, Samuel later tell me that he maintained his farm stand, and stood firm, and he went away. They never stayed there. They went away again. And so, to me, I was left in school. But then the following day in the morning, the deputy principal came to me and told me, what are you doing in school? Leave the school. And when I went and took my things, as I was leaving, the principal somehow saw me walking out, and he told the security to call me back, and I was called back. And when I came back, the principal took all my belongings that I was having to his office and left me there standing and went away. The deputy principal came and found me there and asked, what are you doing here? You should leave. So it seemed to me like the principal and the deputy principal were not in one. So here was I in the middle of these two things. And so I went to the school principal. I told him, the deputy principal is demanding for me to leave. And at last the principal yielded and gave me my things and told me, okay. Then I left. I went back home. All this while, almost term 2 now was coming to an end. I'd not been reading. I like my friend, I think so. And then, so when they called us to go back, we went together with our parents to the school. And it was a meeting where I remember we talked. And then our parents are the ones who began talking, and they said, we are sorry for what our children have done. We are here, we apologize for whatever effect has happened. Now they have accepted, they will do what you people want. When I heard Sam's dad talking, I was like, no, that is not what we're here to do. For us, we've been called back to school, we're here to learn, but we won't compromise on our faith. So to me, I was like, let him end the talking. After he has done with the talking, then to me, I will publicly say, to me, I have not come to compromise on my faith. But as Sam's dad was still talking, Sam interrupted and said to the principal, to the deputy principal, we have not come to compromise. I will not compromise on my faith. I will stand firm. I will not compromise. And then, the meeting ended there, because what followed was a chaotic discussion. Sam's father stood up in fury, in anger, and my mom turned to me and asked me, are you also going to do what your friend has done? And what came quickly in my mind was, if I say yes, my mom is going to say, we're just following your friend. This peer pressure, just following one another. You're two stupid guys here. And I could not say no, because I knew personally my inner conviction. So I had to tell her whatever it be. And I told her, I will stand by my faith unless in this Bible I'm convicted otherwise. At that moment, Sam's dad had gone past the gate. He was very angry. He left Sam there. My mom turned to me and gave me 300 Kenyan shillings and told me, have this, never come to my house. You're no longer my child. I have cut you off from among my children. She walked away. I was left there. So we were there with Sam, standing, stranded. And Sam told me, like, let us leave the school. But I was a little bit hesitant. So to him, he walked away. To me, I went back to the deputy principal. I wanted to confirm, are they accepting us back on the condition we will not compromise our faith? Or are they getting us out again? Then I went to him and asked him. And he told me that, don't ask me that stupid question, you know what to do. And left me. I followed him again after he had gone. I asked him the same question the second time. The response was the same. I quietly was quiet, then followed him again. The third time, I asked him the same question. I wanted to be rest assured that there's no blame on us, that they will say that we called them and then they walked away. I wanted to be rest assured we are not walking away. It's them sending us away because of our faith. Our pastor decided to appeal to our conference, the Adventist conference. So the conference pastor in charge of education, together with my local pastor and Sam's local pastor, we all came together to school so that the Adventist church and the Bethel church can strike a deal on letting us learn in school without we compromising our faith. And the meeting yielded no fruit. The Bethel side, they refused it. No. So I think it was championed. I don't know, I was not in that meeting. We ourselves, the students, we never attend that meeting. We were waiting outside as the pastors were discussing with the school administration. The administration never gave in to it. And so my school, the deputy principal will later be shouting that your pastors are very stupid people. And so I realized the meeting never went well. So we went away with the pastors. And so the conference decided that instead of wasting time at home, let us just leave the matter and go to the conference school and learn there freely without paying anything. It was only 2 months left to KCSE. This was term 3. And so we sat there and we did our best learning. God blessed us with good friends, a good friend Gordon, who were able to help us and have the extra time to teach us some of the things we had not learned because our KCSE was drawing near. And so we give it our best and we learned all that we could learn within that shortest time. And at the end of it, we came back when our KCSE was now near. We'd been chased away from home, chased away from school. We had no family by that time. So we came back to school, reported to the principal, and the principal told us, you go to class, I'll call you and I'll talk with you. So we went to class. And being there in class, what the other guys had read, the exams they had done, there were huge papers of file. And we're like, are we going to read all this to catch up with these guys? And I told my friend, like, no, we cannot make it. If we sit here, we're going to fail. So we decided to go back to the former room where we used to sit and pray. So we sat there alone. We had our own class there. We were still keeping the Sabbath. We never compromised on that. Now it was 2 days to KCSE, and we sat there reading on our own because we thought if we be with the others, we will think that we've learned little. We need to catch up with them, and we might lose focus of the exams. So we decided to sit alone there, and we sat there, the two of us. Although some few friends joined us, but they later left. So we were only sitting there reading, and we decided that we don't want to know any other thing of what they have learned. The little we have, that is what we will go with to the exam room. And we prayed earnestly that God bless us. And the exam came. The school never bothered us of any other thing again. We did the exams and completed them all well. It was during that time that the school experienced some bad things. During that exams, the students actually went to an extent of threatening to kill the deputy principal, and they chased him out of school. He went out of school. Other teachers were afraid. The students turned to be something else. The school was chaotic. The students were ruling themselves. No teacher would say anything. I don't know whether it happens in other schools, but the students turned very chaotic and will not condone anything to do with any teacher. And at last we did our exams and it ended. And there we were waiting for the results, knowing one fact, the teachers were also waiting for our results. Particularly, they knew we were going to fail terribly and they're going to use us as an example. But sadly enough, that not even our friends, fellow Adventists who were left, scored higher than us. If they are, then 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, they're accountable. But the close ones whom I knew, we were ahead of them, and we passed our exams and joined campus. And the shame that was awaited for never came. God helped us all this through. And whichever time I reflect on this experience, I say to myself that my heart will always sing redemption story. It shall be my theme till I see Christ comes in the clouds. Of all the rejections we met there, being called into meetings where even Adventist teachers will ask us, are you righteous than your pastor who is preaching on a Sabbath, is working on a Sabbath? Are you more righteous? You people are Pharisees. But I ask myself, Lord, perhaps I am wrong, they are right. But where in the Bible? Who will show it in the Bible? Who will show it for us in the Bible? I remember being asked that, what if you will get a job in the future and your job will require you to work on Saturday? Will you decline that well-paying job? And my response, yes, I will decline it, because my job cannot resurrect me out of the grave one day. But obedience to God will earn me in the first resurrection, eternal life. And the response of the teachers was, you're foolish, you're stupid, you don't know what you're saying. How can you sacrifice your job? In the middle of all this suffering, it seemed like we were very stupid. And I believe that God has chosen weak things that He may confound the strength of the world. He has chosen that which is foolish, that He may confound the wisdom of the world. For the world in its wisdom knew not the Lord when He was here in the world with us. And I believe it was God's own strength who guided me and my friend all through that until we became victors. And it is my prayer that out of all this, may the Lord count me worthy to inherit life eternal. And may His love never cease for me. May His grace ever be with His children. And may God bless us all.